The summer night was warm and filled with stars. 8-year-old Ji-woo sat on the cliff overlooking the ocean, watching the sky with wide eyes. Her grandmother had told her about the meteor shower, and Ji-woo did not want to miss a single falling star. The small fishing village behind her was quiet. Most people had gone to sleep, but Ji-woo had sneaked out of her grandmother's house to see the show. The meteors began to fall, bright streaks of light cutting across the darkness. Ji-woo counted them one by one, making wishes on each. But then something strange happened. One of the lights did not fade away like the others. It grew brighter and bigger, and Ji-woo realized with a gasp that it was coming down too fast and too close. The object hit the ocean with a massive splash. Ji-woo jumped to her feet, her heart pounding. She knew she should run home and tell her grandmother, but curiosity pulled at her like a strong tide. What if someone needed help? What if it was something amazing? She climbed down the rocky path to the beach, her small flashlight bouncing in her hand. The waves were rough, crashing against the shore with foam and spray. Ji-woo searched the waterline, stepping carefully over the wet rocks. Then she saw her. A girl lay on the sand, coughing up water. But she was not like any girl Ji-woo had ever seen. Her skin seemed to glow faintly in the moonlight, shifting colors from pale blue to soft purple. Her eyes, when they opened, were larger than human eyes and filled with swirling silver light. Strange crystalline patterns decorated her temples and ran down her neck like delicate jewelry. Ji-woo dropped to her knees beside the strange girl. "Are you okay?" she whispered. The girl looked at her with fear and confusion. She tried to speak, but the words were not Korean or any language Ji-woo recognized. They sounded like music mixed with water. The girl winced and touched her side, where a dark stain spread across her silver clothing. "You are hurt," Ji-woo said. She looked around frantically. If she brought this girl to the village, people would panic. Adults would take her away, maybe hurt her or lock her up. Ji-woo had seen enough movies to know what happened to aliens. "Come with me. I will hide you." She helped the girl to her feet. The alien was light, much lighter than a human should be. Ji-woo led her along the beach to a sea cave she had discovered months ago. It was her secret place, where she kept treasures she found and went when she wanted to be alone. Inside the cave, Ji-woo made the girl comfortable on a pile of old blankets she had stored there. The girl's skin was changing colors rapidly now, flashing through reds and oranges. Ji-woo touched her forehead and felt intense heat. "Fever," Ji-woo said. "Wait here. I will be back." She ran home as fast as her legs could carry her. Her grandmother was still asleep. Ji-woo grabbed water bottles, rice balls wrapped in seaweed, and the first aid kit from the kitchen. She also took a spare blanket and her favorite stuffed rabbit for comfort. Then she ran back to the beach dot over the next 3 days. Ji-woo took care of the alien girl. She brought food and fresh water, bandaged the wound on her side, and sat with her during the worst of the fever. The girl's color-changing skin slowly stabilized to a soft lavender shade. On the second day, the girl spoke her first Korean word. "Thank you," she said carefully, pointing at herself. "Vara." Ji-woo clapped her hands in delight. "Vara, that is your name?" "I am Ji-woo." Vara smiled, and her skin flickered with warm golden tones. Over the following days, they learned to communicate. Vara picked up Korean words incredibly fast, as if her mind was built to learn languages. She drew pictures in the sand to explain where she came from. A world far away, among different stars. Her people had sent ships to explore, and she had been in one of the small scout vessels when something went wrong. "My people look for me," Vara said, her Korean improving each hour. "They come soon." Ji-woo felt sadness fill her chest. "You will leave?" "Must," Vara said softly. "But I not forget Ji-woo." "You say Vara life?" You kind when scared. They spent the days talking and playing in the cave. Ji-woo taught Vara Korean games and songs. Vara showed Ji-woo how her people made light with their hands, creating small floating orbs that danced in the air like fireflies. They laughed together and shared secrets the way children do, building a friendship that felt bigger than the whole world. On the fourth night, they sat at the mouth of the cave, watching the stars. Vara's wound had healed remarkably fast, leaving only a faint silver line. She would be leaving soon. Her people had been sending signals that she could sense, getting closer each day. Ji-woo felt tears building in her eyes. I wish you could stay forever. Vara looked at her with those beautiful silver eyes. I wish too. Then I have an idea, Ji-woo said suddenly. When we grow up, I will marry you. Then you never have to leave. We can be together always. Vara tilted her head, considering this. Among her people, promises were sacred things. Soul bonds were the deepest commitment two beings could make. This human child did not understand the weight of what she offered, but Vara felt the pure intention behind the words. This was not a game to Ji-woo. This was her heart speaking. You sure? Vara asked seriously. Yes, Ji-woo said firmly. I promise. Vara reached out and took Ji-woo's hand. She pressed their palms together, and suddenly both their hands began to glow with soft blue-green light. Ji-woo gasped as she felt warmth spread up her arm and into her chest. It felt like drinking hot chocolate on a cold day, like her grandmother's hugs, like coming home. Is soul promise, Vara explained. In my culture, most sacred. I keep promise, Ji-woo. When we grown, I come back. I marry you. Promise? Ji-woo whispered. Promise kept, Vara said. I return for you. That night, ships came down from the sky. They were beautiful, made of the same crystalline material as Vara's skin patterns. Vara's people found them at the cave. They were tall and elegant, with the same glowing skin and silver eyes. They spoke to Vara in their musical language, clearly relieved to find her alive. Before she left, Vara pressed something into Ji-woo's hand. It was a small crystal that pulsed with inner light. Keep this. When I near, it glow. Remember promise. Ji-woo watched as Vara walked to the ships with her people. At the entrance, Vara turned back and waved. Ji-woo waved back, tears streaming down her face. The ships rose into the sky silently, becoming lights among the stars, and then they were gone. Ji-woo walked home slowly, the crystal clutched in her hand. By the time she reached her grandmother's house, she was already wondering if it had all been a dream. But the crystal was real and solid. She put it on a chain and wore it around her neck, never taking it off. Years would pass. Ji-woo would grow up and almost forget. But somewhere among the stars, Vara was growing too. And Vara never forgot. A promise was a promise, and she would keep it. 20 years had passed since that summer night, and Ji-woo had become someone very different from the little girl who had found an alien on the beach. She was 28 now, living in Seoul, working at a job most people thought was a waste of time and money. She sat at her desk at the United Nations Extraterrestrial Intelligence Initiative, or ANETI for short. The office was small and underfunded. Only 15 people worked there, monitoring space for signals from alien civilizations. Most governments treated ANETI like a joke, something they funded because it looked good but never expected to produce results. Ji-woo stared at her computer screen, analyzing signal patterns from deep space. She had become a xenolinguist, someone who studied how aliens might communicate. She had also trained in cultural anthropology, learning about human cultures so she could theorize about alien ones. Her colleagues often laughed about her romantic ideas of friendly alien visitors. Still hoping for your space friends? Her co-worker Minho would joke. Ji-woo would smile and say nothing. She never told anyone about Vara. Over the years, the memory had faded like an old photograph. Sometimes she was sure it had really happened. Other times she thought maybe it had been an elaborate childhood dream. The crystal around her neck was real enough, but it had not glowed in 20 years. Maybe it was just a strange rock. Her personal life was quiet. She dated sometimes, meeting people through friends or apps. There was Day, the architect who loved hiking. Then Yuna, the teacher who made her laugh. But every relationship eventually ended the same way. Something felt incomplete. She could never fully explain the feeling, so she stopped trying. Her grandmother had passed away 3 years ago. While cleaning out the old house, Ji-woo found a box of her childhood drawings. Among them were dozens of pictures of Vara, a girl with glowing skin and silver eyes. Ships made of crystal, stars and promises. Ji-woo had cried, holding those drawings, feeling something stir in her chest. After that, she began researching her memories. She checked news archives from that summer, looking for meteor reports or strange sightings. She found nothing. The logical part of her brain said it was a child's fantasy, but the part of her that wore the crystal every day wondered. The world had changed a lot in 20 years. Climate change had forced countries to work together. Resources were running low. People looked at the stars not with wonder, but with desperation, hoping for help or new worlds to inhabit. UNET, I had detected artificial signals from deep space, patterns too complex to be natural. But the signals were distant, and no one knew if they were meant for Earth or just cosmic noise. Ji-woo had stopped expecting anything to happen. This was her life now. A decent job, a small apartment, friends who cared about her, and a hole in her heart she could not explain. Then the dream started. 3 months ago, Ji-woo began seeing Vara in her sleep. Not the child Vara, but Vara as an adult. She was tall and beautiful, wearing elaborate clothing that seemed woven from light. Her skin still shifted colors, but she controlled it now, keeping it a steady lavender shade. In the dreams, Vara would reach out to her and say words Ji-woo could not quite hear. Ji-woo told herself it was stress. Too much work and not enough sleep. But the dreams came every night, growing more vivid. Sometimes she woke up feeling like Vara had actually been in the room with her. The crystal began acting strange too. It would pulse with faint light at odd moments. Once during a meeting. Twice while she ate dinner. Ji-woo took it to a laboratory, asking them to analyze it. The scientists were baffled. It was not any element they recognized. Its structure seemed to shift when observed, almost like it was alive. "Where did you get this?" they asked. "A friend gave it to me," she said. She wore it always, tucking it under her shirt. It had become part of her, like a second heartbeat. Everything changed on a Tuesday morning in October. Ji-woo was at her desk when alarms began blaring throughout the building. Every screen in the office switched to the same display. Multiple objects were approaching Earth at impossible speeds. They had appeared on the edge of the solar system just hours ago, moving faster than anything humans had ever created. The director of UNETI, Dr. Park, called everyone to the main conference room. His face was pale. "This is it," he said. "We have company." The room erupted in noise. People shouted questions and theories. Ji-woo sat frozen, her hand clutching the crystal under her shirt. It was burning hot and glowing so brightly she could see the light through her clothes. Over the next 6 hours, Earth's governments scrambled to respond. Military forces went on alert. Scientists analyzed the approaching vessels. The ships were broadcasting in multiple Earth languages: Chinese, English, Spanish, Arabic, Korean. The message was simple. "We come in peace. We request formal meeting at designated first contact location. We seek Dr. Kang Ji-woo. When Jiwoo heard her name spoken by the alien voice, her legs gave out. Minho caught her before she fell. "Jiwoo, do you know about this?" he asked. She could not speak. The crystal was blazing like a small sun against her chest. Dr. Park pulled her into his office privately. "Jiwoo, I need you to tell me everything." "Why are they asking for you?" She told him. Everything. The beach, the cave, the girl named Vara, the promise. He listened without interrupting, his expression growing more serious with each word. "Do you still have this crystal?" he asked. She pulled it out from under her shirt. The office filled with blue-green light. Dr. Park stepped back, shielding his eyes. "My God," he whispered. "It is real. All of it is real." The next day, Jiwoo was flown to Geneva, Switzerland. Aneti headquarters had a facility built for exactly this purpose, though no one had believed it would ever be used. The first contact pavilion was a beautiful building made of glass and steel, designed to welcome visitors from the stars. Representatives from every major government were gathering. Military commanders, scientists, diplomats, religious leaders. Everyone wanted to be present for humanity's first official contact with an alien species. But they all wanted to know the same thing. Why did the aliens ask for Jiwoo? She sat in a preparation room, wearing formal clothes that felt too tight. A team of advisors tried to tell her what to say and how to act. Jiwoo barely heard them. Her mind was spinning. Could it really be Vara? After all these years? The crystal around her neck pulsed in steady rhythm now, like a second heart. Through the window, she could see the sky. The alien fleet had entered Earth's orbit. Their ships were visible even in daylight, hanging in the sky like strange new stars. The largest ship was descending. It was massive and elegant, covered in crystalline patterns that reminded Jiwoo of Vara's skin. It landed in the designated area outside the pavilion with impossible grace. Making no sound at all, Jiwoo was escorted to the main hall along with world leaders and officials. Everyone was tense. Some people looked excited. Others looked terrified. Security forces were everywhere, though what good human weapons would do against technology that could cross stars, no one knew. The entrance to the alien ship opened. A ramp extended to the ground. Figures began to emerge, tall and elegant, their skin glowing with inner light. They wore beautiful armor and carried themselves with quiet dignity. But they were not the leader. Then she appeared. Vara walked down the ramp, and Jiwoo forgot how to breathe. She was magnificent, taller than Jiwoo remembered, graceful and powerful. She wore a crown that seemed may have captured starlight. Her skin was lavender and silver, shifting in patterns that spoke of barely controlled emotion. Her eyes found Jiwoo immediately, across the crowded hall, and everything else disappeared. Time seemed to stop. 20 years fell away. Jiwoo was 8 years old again, sitting in a cave with her friend, making promises under the stars. Vara smiled, and the whole world changed. The main hall of the first contact pavilion had never been so full. Every seat was taken. Cameras from every news organization in the world pointed at the center platform where Earth's leaders stood waiting. Security personnel lined the walls, their weapons feeling small and useless in the presence of such advanced visitors. Jiwoo stood among the uneddied delegation. Her heart beating so hard, she thought everyone could hear it. The crystal against her chest was warm and steady, pulsing in rhythm with something she could not explain. Vara stood at the entrance to the hall with her delegation. There were 12 of them, each one beautiful and otherworldly. Some had skin that glowed blue. Others shimmered gold or silver. They wore armor that looked like it was grown rather than made, organic and elegant. But everyone's eyes were on Vara. She was clearly their leader. The others deferred to her with small gestures of respect. The crown she wore was not just decoration. It marked her as royalty, Even without understanding their culture, everyone in the room could feel the power and authority she carried. The Secretary General of the United Nations stepped forward. His name was Ambassador Chun, and he had prepared for this moment his entire career, even though he had never truly believed it would happen. "On behalf of Earth and all humanity, we welcome you," he said. His voice was steady despite his obvious nervousness. "We are honored by your presence." Vara inclined her head gracefully. When she spoke, her voice filled the room without shouting. It was beautiful, like music mixed with water. "We thank you for your welcome," she said in perfect English. "We are the Celestials, travelers of the stars. We come in peace and friendship." Her eyes scanned the crowd as she spoke, searching. When they found Ji Woo, they stopped. Vara's formal composure cracked just slightly. Her skin flickered through shades of gold and pink before she controlled it. Ambassador Chun continued with the prepared speech. "We have many questions. Your technology, your civilization, your intentions. We hope to establish communication and understanding." "Of course," Vara said, but she was not looking at him. She was looking at Ji Woo. "However, there is someone I must speak with first. Dr. Kang Ji Woo, will you approach?" The hall erupted in whispers. Ji Woo felt every eye turn to her. Dr. Park put a gentle hand on her shoulder. "Go," he whispered. "The whole world is watching." Ji Woo's legs felt like water, but she walked forward. The crowd parted for her. Each step felt like crossing an ocean. Vara waited, perfectly still, her eyes never leaving Ji Woo's face. When Ji Woo reached the center platform, she stopped a few feet away from Vara. Up close, she could see the crystalline patterns on Vara's temples, the exact same ones from her childhood memories. This was real. This was happening. "Hello, Ji Woo," Vara said softly, switching to Korean. "I told you I would return." Ji Woo's voice came out as a whisper. "It was real. You were real. Always real," Vara said. She reached into her armor and pulled out something small. It was a stuffed rabbit, old and worn. Ji Woo recognized it immediately. The toy she had given Vara 20 years ago in the cave. "I kept this. Kept everything. Every word, every promise." Tears filled Ji Woo's eyes. She reached up and pulled the crystal from under her shirt. "I kept this." Vara smiled, and her whole being seemed to glow brighter. "The Soul Stone. It called to you, yes?" "In dreams?" "Yes," Ji Woo said. "I thought I was going crazy." "Not crazy. The bond reaches across stars. It told me you were ready. Told me it was time." Ambassador Chun cleared his throat nervously. "Excuse me, but perhaps we should all sit down and discuss this formally?" "We have many protocols. Forgive me, Ambassador," Vara said, turning to face him while keeping one hand extended toward Ji Woo. "But I must explain something first. My full title is Crown Princess Vara of the Celestial Dominion, daughter of Empress Lyra and Emperor Kale. I lead the third exploration, fleet, and command 17 star systems." The hall went completely silent. A crown princess. Not just an alien, but royalty from an interstellar empire. Vara continued. 20 Earth years ago, I crashed on this world while on a training mission. I was found by a human child who saved my life. Ji Woo hid me, fed me, protected me when she could have turned me over to authorities who might have harmed me. She showed me kindness without asking for anything in return. She turned back to Ji Woo, and her voice grew softer. Before I left, she made me a promise. A child's promise, pure and innocent. She said when we grew up, she would marry me so I would never have to leave. I performed our soul bonding ritual, not understanding she was too young to know what it meant. But I have honored that bond every day since. Ji Woo felt the weight of thousands of eyes on her. This was being broadcast around the world. Billions of people were watching this moment. Among my people, Vara explained to the assembled crowd, a soul bond is the most sacred promise two beings can make. It is more binding than any law, stronger than any contract. When I returned to my people and told them what happened, they said I was foolish. They said the bond was not valid because Jiwoo was a child who did not understand. Vara's skin shifted to deep purple, a color that Jiwoo somehow understood meant defiance. But I chose to honor it anyway. I waited. I watched this world from afar, following the rules that prevent advanced civilizations from interfering with developing ones. I watched Jiwoo grow up. I saw her become brilliant and kind, dedicated to understanding others. I saw her heart, even across the stars. And I knew the child's promise had grown into something real. She extended both hands to Jiwoo. I have come to ask if you will renew the promise we made. Not as children, but as adults who choose freely. Will you accept the soul bond, Jiwoo? Will you marry me? The hall exploded with noise. Some people shouted in excitement, others in fear or anger. Security forces moved nervously. World leaders began arguing among themselves. This was not what anyone had expected from first contact. Jiwoo heard none of it. She stared at Vara's extended hands, mind racing. This was impossible. This was insane. She was being proposed to by an alien princess in front of the entire world. If she said yes, what would that mean? For her? For Earth? Wait, a voice called out. A man in a military uniform pushed forward. He was General Hammond from the United States. You cannot expect us to allow one of our citizens to make a decision that affects all of humanity. This bond you speak of, what does it mean politically? Does it create an alliance? An obligation? Vara turned to him calmly. If Jiwoo accepts, she becomes my consort. When I ascend to Empress, she would be Queen Consort of the Celestial Dominion. Your world would become part of the royal household, afforded protection and guidance. Protection from what? Another voice called. It was Dr. Zhao, a Chinese representative. Are we in danger? Is this bond a trap? The galaxy is not a peaceful place, Vara said simply. There are empires that consume younger civilizations. Pirates that steal resources. Disasters that wipe out entire worlds. The Celestials protect those who cannot yet protect themselves. But we respect free will. Jiwoo's choice is her own. I will not pressure her, and neither should you. She is one person, General Hammond argued. How can one person's choice bind an entire planet? Vara's eyes flashed silver, and for the first time, everyone saw the steel beneath her gentle manner. It does not bind you. It binds me. If Jiwoo accepts, I'm bound to protect this world and its people as I would my own family. You lose nothing. You gain everything, unless... She paused, looking around the room. Unless you would rather deny Jiwoo her choice because you fear what you do not understand. Jiwoo finally found her voice. Stop, everyone turned to her. She stepped forward, putting herself between Vara and the crowd. Stop talking about me like I am not here, she said firmly. Stop making this about politics and power. Vara did not come here to conquer Earth. She came to keep a promise to a friend. That is more honor than most humans show each other. She turned to face the assembled leaders. And something about standing next to an alien princess made her feel braver than she had ever felt. I am not a politician. I am not a soldier. I am a person, and I deserve to make my own choices. Yes, this affects everyone, but it is still my life. Give me time to think. Give Vara and her people time to show you who they really are. Can we do that? Can we act like civilized beings instead of frightened animals? The room fell silent again. Ambassador Chen looked at her with something like respect. You are right, Dr. Kang. he said. Forgive us. First contact should not be conducted like a battlefield negotiation. He turned to Vara. Princess, would you and your delegation be willing to meet with our representatives over the next several days? To talk, to share information, to help us understand each other? Vara bowed her head. We would be honored. And Dr. Kang will be given time and space to make her decision without pressure from any party, Ambassador Chun continued, looking pointedly at the military personnel and politicians. Agreed? There were reluctant nods around the room. Vara looked at Ji-woo with such warmth that it made her chest ache. Take all the time you need, she said in Korean. I waited 20 years. I can wait longer. I just wanted you to know I never forgot you. Ji-woo smiled despite the tears on her face. I never forgot you either. I just thought I had dreamed you. I am real, Vara said. And so is my promise. The next week passed in a blur of chaos and wonder. The world could not agree on anything, which was not surprising. Half of Earth's government saw Vara's arrival as a blessing. The other half saw it as a threat. Religious groups held massive gatherings, some celebrating divine contact, others warning of demons from the sky. Protests erupted in major cities, with people demanding everything from Ji-woo's immediate acceptance to Vara's deportation from the planet. Ji-woo watched it all from the safety of Un-Adi headquarters, feeling crushed under the weight of it. She had not asked for this. She had been a child who helped a scared alien. Now the fate of humanity seemed to rest on her shoulders, and she had no idea what to do. Dr. Park found her sitting alone in the observation room, staring at the stars through the massive windows. The President of Korea called me today, he said gently. She wants to meet with you, offer you guidance. Guidance? Ji-woo laughed bitterly. You mean she wants to tell me to say yes so Korea can claim credit for an alien alliance? Perhaps, Dr. Park admitted. But she is not wrong that this is bigger than you. Whatever you choose affects everyone. I know, Ji-woo whispered. That is what makes it so hard. If I say yes, I do it for humanity. If I say no, I do it to humanity. Either way, I cannot just choose for myself. Dr. Park sat beside her. May I tell you what I think? She nodded. I think you should ignore all of us, he said. The politicians, the generals, the protesters, even me. This is your life. Your heart. You were 8 years old, and you showed compassion to a stranger. That was your choice then. Now you get to choose again, but this time as a woman who knows her own mind. Choose for Ji-woo, not for Earth. Tears filled her eyes. What if I choose wrong? There is no wrong choice, he said. Only your choice. The next day, Vara sent a private message through official channels. She invited Ji-woo to visit the flagship, the celestial ship called Starweaver. No cameras, no politicians, no pressure. Just two people who needed to talk. Ji-woo accepted. The shuttle ride to the Starweaver was the strangest experience of her life. The small craft moved silently, lifting her from Earth's surface to the massive ship in orbit. Through the windows, she watched her planet shrink below her. How many humans had seen Earth from space? Not many. The view was beautiful and terrifying. The Starweaver was beyond anything humans had built. The interior looked organic, with walls that curved and flowed like they had grown instead of being constructed. Soft light came from everywhere and nowhere. Vara met her at the docking bay, and for the first time since arriving, she was not wearing armor or her crown. She wore simple robes of deep blue, and her skin was the soft lavender color Ji-woo remembered from childhood. Welcome to my ship, Lara said. Come, I want to show you everything. She led Ji-woo through corridors that seemed to change color based on their emotions. Past rooms filled with technology Ji-woo could not begin to understand. They passed other celestials who bowed respectfully to Vara but regarded Ji-woo with open curiosity. Vara took her to an observation deck where the entire curve of Earth was visible. They stood together in silence, watching the planet turn. "It is beautiful," Vara said softly. "I have seen 1,000 worlds, but yours holds a special place in my heart. It gave me you." Ji-woo felt her chest tighten. "Vara, I need to understand something." "Why me? You are a princess. You could have anyone. Why hold on to a promise made by a child?" Vara turned to face her fully. "Because that child saved my life. Because in all my training, all my education in diplomacy and warfare and ruling, no one ever taught me what you taught me in those 4 days. Kindness without condition. Helping someone not because of what you gain, but because it is right." She reached out slowly, giving Ji-woo time to pull away, and took her hands. "I watched you grow up from afar," Vara continued. "I was not supposed to. The laws forbid interfering with developing worlds. But I could not help myself. I watched you become everything I hoped you would be. Kind, brilliant, dedicated to understanding others. You spent your whole life preparing to meet people like me, hoping we would be friends. How could I not love you?" Ji-woo's breath caught. "Love?" "Yes," Vara said simply. "I love you. Not because of a childhood promise. Because of who you are now. But I need you to understand what accepting the bond means." Over the next hours, Vara showed Ji-woo the truth of the galaxy. She brought up holographic displays showing the celestial dominion. 17 star systems, hundreds of worlds, billions of beings living under celestial protection. She showed Ji-woo other empires, some friendly, others hostile. She showed the Devour Empire, a conquering force that consumed young civilizations for their resources. "We are at war with them," Vara explained. "Not active battle, but Cold War. They want to expand. We try to protect those who cannot protect themselves. If you bond with me, Earth becomes part of that. You gain our protection, our technology, our friendship. But you also inherit our enemies." Ji-woo stared at images of alien soldiers, weapons that could crack planets, battles fought in the dark between stars. This was so far beyond anything she had imagined. "And what happens to me?" she asked quietly. "If I say yes?" Vara's expression grew sad. "You would leave Earth, not forever, but often. You would need to learn our ways, our politics, how to navigate 1,000 different cultures. When I become Empress, you would be Queen Consort. You would help me rule, make decisions that affect countless lives. It is not an easy life, Ji-woo. I will not lie to you about that. And if I say no, then I leave," Vara said. "We would still offer Earth friendship and guidance. The Celestials do not punish people for choosing their own path. But you and I would not see each other again. The soul bond would fade, and we would both move on with our lives." Ji-woo felt tears on her face. "I do not know if I am strong enough for this." Vara wiped the tears away gently. "You are stronger than you know. You have already done the hardest thing. You chose compassion over fear as a child. Everything else is just details." They were interrupted by an alert. One of Vara's advisors appeared on a holographic screen. He looked worried. "Princess, we have a situation," he said. "A celestial diplomatic ship has arrived. It carries Ambassador Teeman. He demands to speak with you immediately." Vara's skin flashed dark purple. "Teeman? Here? Why?" "He claims authority from the High Council. He says your bonding must be reviewed." Vara's expression hardened in a way Ji-woo had never seen. "Tell him I will meet him in the formal hall. And tell him to remember who commands this fleet." She turned to Ji-woo. "I am sorry. There is someone I must deal with. Come with me. You should hear this." They went to a large chamber filled with Vara's officers and crew. A shuttle had docked, and 3 figures emerged. 2 were Celestials Ji-woo did not recognize. But the third made her gasp. He was human. Or had been once. He looked about 40, with Asian features and kind eyes that seemed sad despite his smile. But his skin had the faint shimmer of celestial biology. He had been changed somehow, caught between two worlds. "Vara," he said, bowing slightly. His Korean was perfect but accented strangely. "It has been too long." "Timin," Vara said coldly. "I did not know the High Council had sent you to question my decisions." "Not question," Timin said smoothly. "Merely ensure you understand the consequences. For yourself and for this world." He turned to Ji Woo and smiled. "Dr. Kang Ji Woo, I have read much about you. I am Ambassador Timin. I was born on Earth 43 years ago. I was adopted by the Celestials when they rescued me from a sinking ship. They gave me a new life among the stars. You are human?" Ji Woo asked. "I was," Timin said. "Now I am something else. A bridge between worlds, like you would become. But I must ask you to reconsider this bond." "That is enough," Vara snapped. "You have no authority here." "The High Council gave me authority," Timin said calmly. He produced a holographic document, official seals glowing. "They are concerned that binding a crown princess to a world as primitive as Earth could endanger the Dominion. If you bond with Ji Woo, Earth becomes a target. The Devourers will come here. Millions could die." Ji Woo felt ice in her stomach. "Is that true?" Vara's jaw clenched. "It is possible. But we would protect Earth, would you?" Timin interrupted. "When you are needed elsewhere? When other worlds demand your attention? Can you guarantee this planet's safety?" "I would die before letting harm come to Earth," Vara said fiercely. "And that is exactly what the Council fears," Timin said. "You would sacrifice yourself, your throne, everything for this bond. They sent me to remind you of your duty." "My duty is to my people," Vara said. "And Ji Woo is my people." Timin looked at Ji Woo with something like pity. "You seem like a good person, Dr. Kang, but are you prepared for what this bond means? Can you really look at billions of humans and tell them you will risk their lives for love?" The question hit Ji Woo like a physical blow. She looked at Vara, at Timin, at the gathered Celestials watching her. "I need time," she whispered. "I need to think." She ran from the hall, ignoring Vara calling her name. She had to get away, had to breathe, had to figure out what was right. Ji Woo sat alone in the small room Vara's crew had given her on the Star Weaver. Through the window, Earth turned slowly, peaceful and unaware of the decision weighing on her shoulders. She had been here for 2 days, thinking, crying, trying to find an answer that made sense. There was a soft knock at the door. She expected Vara, but it was Timin who entered. He carried 2 cups of tea and smiled gently. "May I sit?" He asked. She nodded, too tired to argue. Timin handed her a cup. The tea smelled like the jasmine her grandmother used to make. "I had this grown specially on the celestial homeworld, a small piece of Earth among the stars." They drank in silence for a moment. "You think I am the villain in this story?" Timin said quietly. "I can see it in your eyes. Are you not?" Ji Woo asked. "You came here to stop Vara from bonding with me." "No," Timin said. "I came to make sure you understood what you were choosing. I was once like you, Ji Woo. Human, confused, thrown into a world I did not understand. The Celestials saved me, changed me, gave me purpose. But I lost my humanity in the process. I can never return to Earth permanently. My body cannot survive there anymore. I am trapped between worlds." He set down his cup, and she saw the sadness in his eyes. "I do not want that for you," he said. "If you bond with Vara, you will be changed. Not physically, perhaps, but in every other way. You will see things no human should see. Fight battles no human should fight. The weight of worlds will rest on your shoulders. Is love worth that price? Jiwoo thought about his question carefully. Is it not always? Every person who loves someone takes a risk. My grandmother loved my grandfather, and when he died, it broke her heart. But she never regretted it. She said love was worth any pain. Timon smiled. Your grandmother was wise, but she only risked one heart. You risk billions. Do I? Jiwoo asked. Or is everyone risking me? All these politicians and generals telling me what I should do. None of them care about what I want. They only care about what I can give them. That is true, Timon admitted. But it does not make their concerns invalid. If you choose Vara, Earth becomes a target. Jiwoo stood up and walked to the window. Tell me something, Timon. What happens if I say no? If I send Vara away and reject the bond? The Celestials will still offer friendship, Timon said. We will share some technology, help Earth grow. But it will be slow. Careful. By the time your world reaches the stars on your own, centuries will have passed. Many humans will suffer and die in the meantime. And if I say yes? Earth leaps forward, Timon said. The Celestials will give you everything. Medicine that cures diseases. Energy that ends pollution. Knowledge that feeds billions. But yes, you will have enemies. The Devourers will notice. Others will test you. Jiwoo turned to face him. So either choice has consequences. Either way, people suffer and people are saved. The only difference is whether I get to be happy. Timon stared at her, surprised. You came here thinking I was selfish, Jiwoo continued. That I would choose love over duty. But you have it backwards. I spent my entire life studying first contact. I know what humanity needs. We need to know we are not alone. We need hope. We need to see that the universe can be kind. She pulled the crystal from under her shirt. It pulsed with warm light. Vara kept her promise, Jiwoo said. A promise made by a child, honored by a queen. That means something. That tells every human watching that there is honor among the stars. That we can trust what is out there. Is that not worth any risk? Timon stood slowly. You have already decided. Yes, Jiwoo said. I have. And tomorrow I am going to tell everyone. The next day, the United Nations General Assembly held an emergency session. Every nation sent representatives. The hall was packed with leaders, scientists, military officials, and press from around the world. Vara and her delegation sat in a special area, watching quietly. Jiwoo walked to the central podium. She wore simple clothes, a traditional Korean hanbok in soft blue. Around her neck was the crystal, glowing bright enough for everyone to see. She looked out at thousands of faces and took a deep breath. My name is Kang Jiwoo, she began. 20 years ago, I was a child who found someone who needed help. I did not think about politics or consequences. I just saw someone who was scared and hurt, and I helped them. That is what humans do. That is what makes us good. She looked at Vara, who was watching her with intense focus. Princess Vera came back to keep a promise. Not because she had to. Not because of politics or power. Because she believed a promise meant something. She waited 20 years for me to grow up so I could make an informed choice. That is respect. That is honor. Jiwoo turned back to the assembly. I have been told I must choose for humanity. That my decision affects billions. And you are right. But I ask you this. What do you want me to choose? Fear or hope? Isolation or connection? She pulled out her tablet and brought up images on the massive screens around the hall. Pictures from Vara's ships. Sick children being healed. Polluted worlds being cleaned. Civilizations thriving under celestial protection. This is what we gain, she said. Not just technology. Not just protection. We gain a place in the galaxy. We gain friends and allies. We gain the knowledge that we matter, that humanity has value. She switched to different images. Battles, destroyed ships, worlds under attack. And yes, we gain enemies. We take risks. But when did humanity ever grow without taking risks? When did we ever achieve greatness by hiding? The hall was completely silent now. I am not making this choice for Earth, Jiwoo said firmly. I am making it for myself. I am choosing to honor a childhood promise. I am choosing love. But my choice shows you what humanity can be. We can be people who keep our word. People who choose kindness over fear. People who reach for the stars. She looked directly at the cameras broadcasting to the world. I accept the soul bond, she said. I choose Vara, and I hope all of you will choose to be brave with me. The hall erupted. Some people cheered. Others shouted in protest. But Jiwoo did not wait for them to decide. She walked straight to Vara, who had stood from her seat with tears streaming down her face. Is that a yes? Vara whispered. It is a yes, Jiwoo said. Vara pulled her into an embrace that felt like coming home. When their hands touched, the crystal around Jiwoo's neck exploded with light. Blue-green bioluminescence spread from their joined hands up their arms, surrounding them both in a glow visible even through the chaos of the assembly hall. Everyone stopped shouting. They stared at the light, at the two figures holding each other while energy swirled around them like living water. This was the soul bond completing. This was something humans had never seen before. When the light faded, Vara and Jiwoo stood hand in hand, both of them glowing faintly. Vara's skin had shifted to the exact shade of blue-green that Jiwoo's eyes reflected. Jiwoo felt something new inside her, like a second heartbeat that matched Vara's. It is done, Vara said. We are bonded. The hall slowly filled with applause. Not everyone was happy. Jiwoo could see angry faces and worried expressions. But enough people were clapping that it felt like acceptance. Ambassador Chun approached them, smiling despite his obvious nervousness. Well, this is unexpected. Do we need to plan a wedding? The bond is the marriage, Vara explained. But we can have a ceremony for your people. Something to celebrate properly. And they did. 6 months later, after endless negotiations and planning, Jiwoo and Vara held a wedding that blended two worlds. The ceremony took place at the cliff where they first met, near the cave where Jiwoo had hidden Vara as a child. Thousands attended in person. Billions watched from around the world and across the stars. G-Woo single quotes, as childhood friend Hyan served as her attendant, one of the first humans training to work with the Celestials. Vara's people sang songs that made the air shimmer. Human musicians played traditional Korean instruments. The cultures mixed and blended, creating something new and beautiful. When they exchanged vows, Jiwoo spoke in Korean and Celestial both, the language coming to her naturally through the bond. Vara spoke of promises kept and futures built together. They pressed their hands together again, and the bioluminescence that appeared was seen from space. Earth changed after that day. The Celestials shared technology carefully, working with human scientists to improve medicine, energy, and food production. They taught Earth how to defend itself, training volunteers in celestial military techniques. Humans began leaving Earth, visiting other worlds, seeing the galaxy. But it was not easy. The Devourer Empire did take notice. Probe ships appeared at the edge of the solar system. Vara's fleet drove them away, but everyone knew they would return. Earth had to prepare for war, even while celebrating peace. Jiwoo found herself caught between worlds, exactly as Taemin had warned. She spent months on Vara's flagship, learning to be a diplomat. She attended councils with alien races who saw humans as primitive children. She watched Vara make impossible decisions about which worlds to defend and which to leave to their fate thought it was hard. Some days, Jiwoo missed her simple life and soul, but she never regretted her choice. 5 years after the bonding, Vara's parents stepped down from their thrones. Vara became Empress of the Celestial Dominion, and Jiwoo became Queen Consort. The coronation was the largest gathering of species in galactic history. Humans stood shoulder to shoulder with aliens from 100 worlds.